Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, dragons of all ages. And welcome back to another episode in my countdown to episode 9. Today I will be doing a quick revisit on Star Wars Solo, to give my thoughts to see how my thoughts have changed over the years since it's come out, and I'll also be giving a brief discussion of the book Star Wars Last Shot, which came out a little bit before the Solo movie premiered. So as far as Solo goes, my opinions haven't changed too much about it. I still personally enjoy the movie, although I can understand why people dislike it. As far as the acting goes, I think everyone does fine acting. Alden Ehrenreich, I think, does a decent job of getting Han Solo's personality and sort of quirks down. I think any kind of quote-unquote flaws in the character really come down more to the writing. One thing I know I discussed in my initial review was Donald Glover didn't seem to put on the Billy D. Williams voice during the movie. After rewatching on Blu-ray, he actually does have the Williams voice more, and that threw me because I'm not sure if it was always there and I somehow just completely missed it, or if they perhaps had him come in and redubbed the lines to have the accent. I don't know. Pretty sure I wasn't imagining it, because I know heard a few other reviewers who say that the Billy voice was missing when it was in theaters. Yeah, I'd say I still like this movie, although perhaps I should clarify. Hey, pretty much like it in the same vein that I like Pirates of the Caribbean 3, where, no, the story is not groundbreaking or amazing or anything, but the action sequences I still find fun enough that I'm willing to forgive them. I still wish they hadn't done the Kessel Run in this movie. I wish they'd kept that a mystery. They had their heist be something else entirely, because you didn't need specifically the Kessel Run for this movie. One thing I realized I think they were trying to do with this movie was trying to make Han Solo similar to Luke. I think it's sort of meant to be like explanation of why Han comes back to help Luke in episode 4 at the end, which I didn't really need because I never really questioned, but it was kind of an interesting detail I noticed where it's like, it's like, this young Han feels a little bit like Luke in some ways. And then I will say I'm not overly fond with the end and how it turns out with. I think Kira leaving him behind is fine. The bit I probably would take kind of issue with is him helping out the rebellion, I guess, is who the Marauders are working with. And Han pretty much helps him out with the little consequences. I feel if you're going to have Han be sort of this optimistic compared to his New Hope counterpart, I feel like you need to have him basically get cheated by everyone to kind of show how he develops the sort of cynical outlook he has in the beginning of episode 4. So I think they could have done a better job with that. I still like the movie in sort of the popcorn movie sense of just sit it and enjoy the action, but I can see why people are unhappy with it. That's really about it for a recap on my opinions of the movie. Now, on to Last Shot. This is a book that sort of jumps around through times, specifically to 3 points. One point is where Lando and L3 are piloting the Falcon, and another point is after Lando loses the Falcon to Han, and then the third point, and the one that the book mostly takes place in, is post Return of the Jedi. The basic premise is that this mad scientist doctor who thinks robots should rise up and take over the universe, essentially. He wants this specific device that the owner of the Millennium Falcon once acquired, and if I remember right, I guess Han never changed the registration of the Falcon from Lando to him, or at least didn't do so till after certain events that happen in the book, that in one of the flashback thingies. I will say the villain is kind of interesting. He kind of starts out as this respectable doctor, and then goes into the madness and thinks robots are better than organics. But it's not that the line of reasoning of like how he kind of gets to this point is completely absent. It's just that it seems rather quick considering where he's at when you first, or during the earliest point we meet him chronologically in universe. But otherwise, it's interesting. Probably a very interesting development is Lando actually gets a girlfriend slash potential wife. So, and then I've been hearing that he has a daughter in episode 9. So I'm curious if the romance setup in this carries into the movie, or if they retcon it, sort of. It'll be interesting. And another interesting aspect is we also get a little bit of a glimpse into the life of the Solo family and sort of see Han and it kind of, I guess, failing to be I wouldn't say failing to be a good dad, but struggling to be a good dad. It also explained in that he never really had a father figure in his own life, so he doesn't necessarily know how to be a father, and also shows that kind of that he and Leia are perhaps being a little too protective of Ben and worried that he'll turn to the dark side, because one specific example is that the book specifically mentions like Han gave Ben, who's like 3 to 5, somewhere in that range. I can't remember the exact age, but Han gave him like a toy blaster, and I guess Leia discouraged it because it would be he encouraging his quote-unquote violent tendencies or something like that at his violent side or something. And Han has to take the toy away, which then makes him sort of the bad guy in Ben's eyes, I guess. I don't know, the scene just struck me as a little odd. I feel, it kind of feels a bit, I don't know if I want to go down the parenting rabbit hole, considering I have no experience with that, so I'll actually stay away from that for now. It's an interesting glimpse into perhaps sort of seeing why Ben turns to the dark side, or is he? I don't know. So many videos have been trying to throw that in the air of, oh, is Ben actually bad or not, and yada yada yada. Topic for another video. But yeah, so that's a bit interesting. Yeah, it's a decent book. It's not the greatest, but not the worst, I'd say. Although I will say it does sort of make Han out to be a little dumber than he usually is portrayed as in other media and other books. One of the flashbacks, he goes on a heist with Ace to get this device thing. These gangs sort of catch up to them, him wanting the device for themselves. The person he's working with is trying to bluff their way out of it, but Han takes the bluff seriously and actually dumps the device into space, which, I don't know, it seems like I don't know, Han never struck me as that dumb. Granted, I think this is still kind of, I don't even like even before he got the Falcon, though, he didn't seem that dumb. And then in another part of the book, they encounter this monster where if you look at it, it can hypnotize you, which sort of paralyzes you and basically would allow it to eat you. It happens to Han once. Someone breaks him out of it. They explain that to him, and then he basically goes and does it essentially again, which, I don't know, seemed a little contrived and dumb to me. Where it's like, you just did this, and and they just explained to you why you don't do this. Why would you do it again? Also, it doesn't even necessarily feel like a Han book. It feels more like a Lando book. Like, it feels like, even though it's kind of primarily marketed as a Han Solo book, though granted is kind of equally, although a little bit more so, in actual contents equally and about a little bit more so a Lando book. But yeah, aside from those minor complaints, it's still a decent read, but not really essential, well, for anything, I'd say. It's, if this description hasn't caught your interest, then you can skip out on it, and you wouldn't be missing much. So that wraps up the reviews, and so until next time, I've been WolfFury501, and I will see you all later. So hopefully beginning later today when I post this, I'm gonna try and stream some gameplay of The Isle on DLive. Hey, so check me out over there, see if you can find me, and hopefully I'm planning to stream Battlefront 2 on Wednesday the 5th, and hopefully unless something comes up, I should be streaming Battlefront 2 on Tuesday, June 4th, Earth again over on DLive. No specific times yet, I'm afraid. So feel free to check those out, pop in, say hi, and then next video will be my review of EA's attempt at the Battlefront games. So until then, later.